I hadn't thought about how I would introduce Dr. Ben Jochanan, and it is realized that it is both easy and very difficult because most of you know him well, and there's not a great deal that I can say that you don't already know about him. It is difficult because this is one of those times when you as a student have to feel anxious, trembled in the presence of excellence. And that's how I feel. And so what I've decided to do is, for the record, and hope the record will be received or administered well, for the record, allow me to say that Dr. Joseph Ben Jochanan is an adjunct professor of history and Egyptology at AFRIK'ASSIETTE Studies and Research Center at Cornell University in Ithaca, New York. Dr. Ben, as we all who respect and love him call him, has been married for 38 years, and that union in oneness with Gertrude England Ben Jochanan has produced and allowed him to be a father of 20 children. And if I may, that is anticipatory intellect. It is meeting the future. It is meeting the future. 12 of those his biological children, 8 of those adopted children. And I think I need to mention that he really represents a parent to all of us. And so we need to put ourselves on his list of children. He has 52 biological grandchildren and 7 great-grandchildren. He has graduate degrees and has mastered the level of excellence in civil engineering, anthropology, law, Moorish history, and is the premier researcher of and in the Nile Valley and the Great Lakes, African history and religiosity. He is a priest of the Tamari education system of 360 degrees, the mysteries. He has sacrificed to feed us, and he has fed us well. He has given us to sustenance as the black man of the Nile and his family. He has fed us with African mother of Western civilization. He has nurtured us with African origin of the major Western religions. He has given us to be strengthened by the black man's Holy Bible, volumes 1 through 3, the chronology of the Bible, We the Black Jews. And he has fed us with a monumental text called They All Look Alike. He is a former chief officer of the East African desk of UNESCO. He has lectured in Africa, in Asia, in Europe, in North and South America, in the Caribbean, and the South Pacific Islands. He is a member of the elders of the Association for the Study of Classical African Civilization. He is in fact ASCAC's elder statesman. He is without question, and we've learned a new term today, he is without question the Kim Ware, the great black. And I am convinced that if history follows itself as it does, there will become a time when the entitlement of intellectual excellence will be Dr. Ben. And future scholars will be called Dr. Ben somebody. Dr. Ben. And it is my hope that if I live long enough and I do well enough, you will refer to me as Dr. Ben. May I present Dr. Ben.
start by saying dynastily. I noticed that everyone did not respond. But the reason I started with dynastily, I believe to begin at the beginning. I don't start at the end of the Nile. I prefer to start at the beginning of the Nile. So I say dynastily. Because up there in Ethiopia, we say dynastily when you say Hotep. I purposely had stated a few years ago that I will not use African clothes. In the 60s, when people were running around with big bush of hair and all kind of dashikis, I refused to wear them because there were so many white women with picking the hair of black men with dashikis at the college campus. And I refuse to disrespect African clothing by wearing it then. And I determined that I would not wear it again until I felt very satisfied that African people were again on a march to declaration of self-independence. So I came with Western European clothes and wore nothing else in the presence of my African brothers and sisters who I believe, quite honestly, are on their way to heaven. Not heaven in the sky, because there is no such place in the sky. No real estate out there any place called heaven. I was fortunate enough to be placed in heaven 68 years ago, and I have returned to heaven a number of times. I would say that you would look at my garment. My garment is from West Africa. And why I selected to wear West African garment? Symbolically of the house of fire, which you know as the pyramid. Symbolically as the temple of worship, which you call the lodge. It is from west to east that we travel, not meaning any, as Brother Noble said, hocus pocus nonsense, but west to east as travel symbolically because of the rising and the setting of the sun. It has nothing to do with the people of the east, because east of what? We are at the east and at the west, at the north and at the south of our continent.
Thank you.
There is two mothers that I was speaking about in respect to the passage. Mother Africa and the black woman. There is no other woman for me but the black woman. You, in your sophisticated academics, may say, but what about other people? I don't give a damn. I am not going to balance my speech to include Asians or Europeans, or make it more specific, Arab, whether they be Muslims or not.
Yes.
Because every Arab is my enemy.
Thank you.
And those who back Arabs are my enemy. Every European is my enemy. And those who associate knowingly in an amalgamation form is equally my enemy. Now that we have had that straight, another thing, I have not had contact with any angel or any other thing from outer space, and can't answer you about outer space. I know nothing about this sunken city that this jackass named Plato speak about, Atlantis. I never met anyone from Atlantis. I'm not interested in spooks. So don't ask me questions on Atlantis. I don't have time for ignorance. Don't speak to me about that thing that you can't wake up in the morning without checking on the chart, astrology.
Tell it.
Because I will tell you, go to Egypt, or come to Egypt with me. And whatever I tell you, I can back it up by your one trip to Egypt. So let me move in a proper manner. Is there anybody in here older than me? I am 68 years of age. If so, stand up. No one? Is it, I cannot see from here, but is it a gentleman or a man and a woman? Will the sister and the brother please come forward? It is customary as Africans. I would not be impertinent enough to believe that I can speak in the presence of my elders without permission. May I have permission to continue? And since I speak for the pleasure of my elders, for the intelligence of my contemporaries, and for the benefit of the youngsters, with the youngest child in this house be presented to the elders. Will you bring forth the youngest child to be presented at the elders? If we are to return home, we must return home with the respect and the purpose. As you know, I will then come from Nigeria in the west and return to the proper place to address my people in the east. I will now speak of the rites of passage. What is the passage we are speaking about? And what rites? The greatest passage Africans know is the passage to reality, the passage to being. And what it is that we need to pass and where? A man, and that's not necessarily a male. I am speaking of a man. Yes. We have many objects that look like men, but they walk like trees. And trees don't walk as men do. Trees walk this way when the wind blow it, but they never leave their mooring. I'm speaking about men. An example of a man is one who takes care of his young, who respects his woman. That's a man. A male is one who took advantage of the rite of passage, deposit the seed to make a young one and depart before the mother could pass 1 month of her pregnancy. There are other males who wait later to make their departure. The rites of passage is not what most brothers feel. The first rites of passage is the sincerity, the protection, the righteousness, the holiness of the black woman.
Yes, it is.
Nature provided her with a seal to the passage. In Western parlance, we call it her virginity. A thin layer of sensitive skin with very sensitive nerve endings that nature gave her and society says is a means of her honor. But because of the Judeo-Christian Islamic garbage called Adam and Eve, where the African woman, as other women, has been placed into scrutiny of being a common whore, we, the men, her men, have been told that she has committed an original sin. And because of this original sin, where the black dot was to enter, that place of passage, because she entertained breaking the seal for that passageway and did not go down to City Hall to get a piece of paper, that the end result of that made her some sort of a whore. And thus she was charged with an original sin. If it is original sin, then Jesus is a bastard. Because nowhere is there record that Jesus was ever married to Joseph or the angel.
All right.
And if this child could ever be a bastard, so is Jesus.
All right.
Secondly, if Adam and Eve committed sin, the original sin, then the prostitute is God, Jehovah. He gave them the means to make this sin. It is God that provided this woman, according to the teachings of the Jews, Christians, and Muslims, with a vagina. It is God that gave that man a penis. And it is God, they told me, that equipped them with all of the mechanisms to produce an offspring. Then God is the culprit. God cannot set forces loose, and when they act according to how he produced them to act, then punish them for his own inequities and inadequacy. I know you are not ready for this. Especially tomorrow is coming soon. But we cannot talk about the black dot without dealing with the black dot. First, there was the black dot, apparently held in the scrotum of a man. That's before we found out there was no difference between an anus and a vagina. That's before we were told in the classroom that having intercourse in the rectum is as sacred and as holy. It's only a matter of preference than in the vagina. If you hold to that, you're sicker than I thought. As I say, my mother told me, if you ain't gonna shit, get off the pack. And if you're not gonna deal with the faggotry, get off the pack. You could call it homosexual and asexual you want it. It's a bunch of faggots. That's what I call it. That's the black dot that aimed down the fallopian tube. The mothers can leave if they want. I understand that little boys and girls don't stay still. We just wanted them to present them to us. They are our children. Yes. It is down the sacred fallopian tube that this black dot came. And I want us to understand, so that we get back in tune with our women, that men don't pass children. Not one single man ever passed one single child in one single woman. I'm sorry to frustrate you, brothers. We pass a sperm with the capability of creating a child, the black dot. But it is in the fallopian tube that this black dot, this thing with an inner membrane, whatever it had, that is God, the black dot. And when the making of God comes and intertwine, amalgamate, become one with this ova of the woman, which you call the egg, it is then, and it's already in the fallopian tube, it has passed the labia majora, the labia minora, into the fallopian tube. And look at the fallopian tube, how it is a complement to the penis. It enters. If you take the woman, you take the fallopian tube and the ovaries and pull it out, you have a penis and two scrotum. Push it back in and you have the woman. And that black dot, when they meet, is the first time we have a child. And we have the process of evolution beginning. And then we have God takes on a stream, a tail. And that tail becomes that existence, which is going to become the staff of God, Mim. Instead of a staff that is connected to a crutch, it's going to be an extension of the umbilical cord. And the outer part of this, the outer part, is going to become what you call the placenta. And the abysmal deep out of which God came is going to be that which bursts when the woman is going to present us with the new God or the new goddess. Let us stop talking about spirituality as if it's a thing out there all by itself. Our ancient ancestors along the Nile, long before they reached to Egypt, the Twa and the Hutu, which you call pygmies, told us on the ancient drawing going back 225,000 years ago, during the time of the civilian period, there was no Egypt yet. And they show us in their drawing, as that went on down. And then from the extension comes 2 legs, 2 arms, both male and female, as sometimes we see them dancing in the womb as twins or more. That's God. That's the goddess. That's the black dot. That is life. Anything outside of this is in the realm of the belief. And the belief is unknown. It is not a fact. I know my mother and father are my God and goddess. I believe anything else is what it is. Thus, must I not say what the ancient Africans all along the Nile say? Honor your mother, not your father. Honor your mother and your father. We don't need the women's liberation movement to tell us what a black woman needs. A black woman knew what she needed all the time. In Africa, we don't inherit from our father. We inherit from our mother. Very few African societies we inherit from our father. It doesn't belittle our father. Because when our ancient ancestors show us in the temples, in the temple of Dendera, where you're going, our ancient ancestors show us, as you look across, here are the legs, here is the stomach, here are the breasts, here are the hands. But here, at the vagina, is the sun with its ray. God coming out of the woman. We will see that at Dendera, while goddess Heru smiles, holding the twig, the tree of life, which Jews and the Christians and the Muslims bastardized, corrupted, and called the tree, the forbidden fruit tree. Always something disgusting. Forbidden fruit. What the hell is forbidden about that? That isn't forbidden. That's glorious. That's sacred. That's holy. is the bang. The big bang we're speaking about is childbirth. And until we start to understand our woman, it is our goddess that is our race. And until we start to put her on top shelf instead of 1,000 pipers, instead of Shenleys, instead of the Audi 5000 and the condominium and the boat in the basin, let us put her back where she belongs. Our ancient ancestors put her in the temples. If you've never been there, they put them over the head of the deceased pharaoh, up there in the ceiling over the sarcophagus. And he watches up in death, and he watches Goddess Nut naked, to make sure they put Goddess Nut facing the west, the south, and facing the north. And they put moons, 12 moons in her body, stars to represent the universe. And they put God Geb. Goddess Nut representing the sky, God Geb representing the earth, holding her proudly at the source of heaven. This caption said, God Geb holding God Nut, one hand on the vagina, one hand on her breast, heaven, holding her up at the pillars of heaven. But you call a bitch. You call a horse slut. You even call a dog. It's funny you didn't call her that when you were coming down the passageway. You couldn't call her that because, you see, you couldn't even speak. And when she cleaned the first piece of shit out your ass, let me be academic, because you don't understand this language. And maybe if I be explicit, you will understand. When you couldn't do anything at all for yourself, when you didn't know what Similac was, when you didn't know what Gerber was, and she picked you up, and the gases were dealing with you, and then she hold you, no different than Goddess Aset held Heru. When you call her the Black Madonna, and you spoke of a child before Michelangelo paint that sick one for Mary and Joseph of Pope Julius XII in 1509. When she brought you up in another phase of the passage, your rites of passage, she said you had the rites of passage 10 months, and she brought you down the canal. Now the other rites of passage to survive. She introduced you to the sweetest thing this side of heaven, her breast. And there you supped. You're talking about Passover. You're talking about Last Supper. This was your first supper. Oh yeah, they even have her looking down at her child, looking down at young God, young deity, and have her saying to the deity, a perfect child, normal 2 legs, two eyes, two nostrils. And you look down at the child, and the mother said, a beautiful child, but it was born in sin. What a negative thing are you telling the child? Dr. Branson tell you. That negative thing you tell that child, even when that child is in heaven. You don't know what the child learns from the day it becomes a black dot. From the day that some people call it ectoplasm, protoplasm, all kinds of mechanical terminology. I just call it God, the deity. That which happens, which we cannot tell in its totality, but happened nevertheless. And I don't care whether Europeans agree with my terminology. What I care is that you understand what I am saying to you.
All right.
So when someone say that this is not scientific, what is science but trial and error? More luck than sense. If science is so great, more than what we are doing here, why is it that the scientists don't come up and say, I am going to make something and just make it? No, but he stays there for years and years, and many times. My mother told me all the time, boy, go eat the bread. I said, Mom, but the bread got mold in it. That's the breast bread, boy. I said, Mama, well, can I toast it and cut the mold up? She said, I'll beat your ass till and die if you don't eat that mold. And I didn't understand that Mama was saying, eat the penicillin. But Mama didn't speak that kind of language. Mama didn't wait until Jonah's shark came. Mama knew some of the bush. When Mama said, go and get some soursop leaf, and I said, no, get Lipton tea. Mama said, I ain't know nothing but a damn Lipton, but I know soursop gonna take the fever for your black ass boy. Go get it. And you said that Mama ain't had no education. You said that Grandma didn't have the education, and Grandma can't speak right. Grandma broke her infinitives. Grandma cannot distinguish between past, present, and whatever else. Grandma must have known something. Grandma got here before you. Grandma got here before mother and father and didn't lose you, didn't lose mama, didn't lose your father. Grandma knew something. Grandma knew to tell, girl, what you doing there lying down flat on your back? You're not doing anything for you. You're doing it for the doctor. You need to get up, girl. Squat. So that child could come easy. The gravitational pull. But Grandma didn't say gravitational pull. Grandma said, so the weight of the baby could come on down. But you, with your gravitational pull, let a jackass get a 2-piece of iron and hold your child and pull it out of you, and you got 56 stitches when they finish. Disturbing the rites of passage. And we got to start doing something again. How should I go back to the rites of passage? My woman is sore. My woman back is displaced. Her hip joints are out of place. You mean to tell me God has given her pain for the sin, the original sin? That's why she had pain when she gave birth to her baby? Well, let us check it out. I saw a roach the other day giving birth to some eggs. I heard a chicken giving birth and she was going cluck, 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 cluck. It wasn't because God punished the female, the hen. I saw a cow, a goat, an elephant howling when delivering. I saw a man, a little piece of shit howling when he got constipated. And he's howling, much less a woman with a 5-inch diameter head coming through her, and then a shoulder. And you walk off and left her. You weren't there to see that child born. You weren't there to see that piece of developed melanin, 10 pounds, 5 pounds, 18 pounds. Yes, some of them get to 18 pounds. No, what melanin means to me is the race itself. What melanin means to me is 2 women, one named Africa and the other named Black Woman. They're twin sisters. They are your mother and your aunt. But what melanin means to me is equally the protector of those 2 women, the black man. Thus, when we find that the black passage is no longer good for us, and we go over to the enemy's daughter, we should not be allowed to come back. Those of you who have strayed, chalk it up to good luck. Just remember that the time is coming that when you stray one time, it is all over. This is no cesspool. This is the sacred home of the melanin. The profusion of melanin. We're going to have beauty contests with the blackest woman in the community as the symbol of what we're talking. I am too white. We're going to have the kinkiest hair as the standard of hair. The biggest and juiciest lips as the standard of lips. And the big behind and the fat breasts. Yeah. That is us. And tell the world that's our beauty. These people older than me have fought. I know Dr. Legon. This is no accident. It just happened that he is the oldest brother in the house. And my sister from Washington, we've known each other quite a while. As they fought in the vineyard. I'm not talking about the vineyard that Solomon, that damn fool, in the Hebrew Bible speak about. Oh no, I know you mad. You said he was the wisest man. Listen to what a jackass did and tell me if he was wise. 2 women have a child like any of those two children that were here. And they're arguing over whose child it is. And they come to this wise Jew. And the wise Jew was to render a wise decision. And he said in his wiseness, the mother, let the one who is not the mother of the child cut the child in two. I know you. Regardless of how the cracker mistreated you, you took his child home during slavery. I mean the chattel slavery, because you're still in slavery. You took a child home, but you couldn't mistreat that child. You should have poisoned the child when you got it home, but you couldn't do it. You just couldn't do it because your innate humanity, what started the day when that melanin was released, couldn't permit you. It was too much melanin that controlled your soul. So you took care. Not only that, you give the child the best food in your house and told your child, boy, girl, that's not the way we act. We always have a plate of food for the stranger. We always have a plate of soul food for our ancestors to come and eat. But then I look at the Peckerwood's wife, and I see her taking the bus, overturning the bus with little children 2 and 3 years old, our melanins, and some of them pregnant, overturning the bus. No feelings. Professor Clark, my elder, called them the icebox people. You see, and then you're going to go back and say, well, we got to be more reasoned. We got to be humanists. But I can't say that. Like I told a fellow the other day, they said, Brother Ben, we don't see you like the 70s. We don't see you down at the South African embassy picketing. I say, you know, if you know that I know it better, I don't be there. Brother Ben, I don't see you campaigning. Didn't Jesse tell you, with campaign, we want to win now? I said, he campaigning. What did he win? They said, but you know that voting is the thing. I said, the white people know that for a long time. I ain't telling them nothing. You see, I told them, don't worry, you're going to see me at the South African mission one day. Yes. But the day you see me, don't get close to me. Because I am there to kill the bastard, his mother, his father, and everybody else. Brother Malachi remind you, all these brothers and sisters, Brother Malachi said, it isn't here that I see. It is here the light has. The image has here. But it is here that I see. When it registers on the film and the brain puts its computer, the Japanese couldn't make nothing like this. And my computer assimilate in a millisecond of a millisecond. And my computer registered and said, that is the person whose father took your land, whose father raped your woman, whose father. then how could I go there and say, we shall overcome? I am not going anywhere to be overcome. The melanin that we are talking about is a real thing. Let us play not slightly. Let us not be hocus pocus and talk about nonsense about man build the pyramid from the top down. I know the person who know that I'm speaking, who I heard saying that today. I know you must be mad, but since I didn't call your name, that's all right. But I hope that you get away from that stupidity. You're a jackass if you still believe that. Stop for one moment and stop being hocus pocus. If they build the pyramid from the top down, when they put the first stone, what held that up? Skyhook? Did they take a skyhook and clip it down the cloud? Do you know that the cloud is vaporous? Don't everything you read some jackass wrote don't necessarily have to be the truth. Some jackass named Plato tell you about Atlantis. And all you running around talking about Atlantis got a pyramid, Atlantis got little submarine and an airplane flying underneath the sea. Flying underneath the sea. I mean, Melanin don't send people crazy. Atlantis was the ignorance of a stupid-ass Greek who went to Egypt and couldn't understand then, and they don't understand now. And all of you freak Greeks in these universities who are freaking off and Greeking off. When the Africans along the Nile were establishing the mental state of human thinking, there wasn't a single Greek, even in imagination, much less in maturity. There wasn't a single man in all of Europe that was known to the civilized world. Adam wasn't here yet. Abraham wasn't here to loose Adam and Eve and the world. But Kunun, Brother Nova, speak of it. And that's another thing. Let us start now. We don't need to call each other doctor when we come to these things. Brother and sister. I know a lot of you can be mad with me now. But I feel good being a brother and a sister. I feel like we are together, closer to each other. It is hard to kiss you, then go and kiss him. You mean to tell me that this sister who bore her children, yet struggled for the community, and because I don't call her doctor, it lessens her struggle? No. I don't hear you calling Dr. Jesus, Dr. Moses, even Dr. Aristotle. Those are labels that the European put, like my father remind me, son, he says, go and get all them damn degrees. Because you're going to need them. You know why? Since I don't have enough money to feed you totally, when you took your family, you may need this to get one of them jobs. Don't keep the job for long, because you can't get no money with a job. If you got the money owning the job. He said, but son, always remember, when you go there, do you notice that some men that come up call and say, come, you get an honorary one. It means they feel that what he knows is equivalent as a doctor, and he didn't sit down there. And the man that's giving out the doctors, many of them, the chairman of the trustees, he got one like that. But the first man to get out, the first one, didn't have a goddamn one for his own. It's a measurement by your master telling you, you have arrived to the standard I set. And he reminded you, where is he? There, right there. He reminded you that you said, he said, when I set standards for you, and you accept them and act upon them, I got power. When you set standards, you, all of us collected, you, we, not I, me, we, us. That's why our ancestors, our grandmother used to say, us ain't going. And you say, what do you mean us ain't going? You mean I am not going? No, she's talking true. She said, us ain't going, because she from Africa can't think of one of us not going. The family not going when I am not going. Us ain't going. And you laugh at the people of the South Sea Island. You call them Geechees. You say they're speaking funny. No, they're translating from their language to the English language. And they can't conceive I and me, mine. See, they conceive our, all of us. It's like when a brother asked me, why don't you play the lottery? I said, it doesn't make sense to play. He said, why? I said, well, I can't win anything. He said, how do you know? He said, I tell you, I know I can't win, man. He said, well, how? Suppose you play the number and the number come out, your number, you win. I said, I don't win anything, brother, when I win. He says, why? I said, I got 52 grands. I got 12 biological and 8 more children and the grandchildren. And my children have their husband and wives. And some of my grandchildren have husband and wives. And then I got my sister and her children. And then I got my cousins and their children. And under my regulation where I come up in my culture, we all divide it equally. So how are we going to divide 2 cents? What are we going to do with 2 cents? Since all of my family is entitled to a share. So it's no sense playing. You could play because you know. They call you and say, you hit the number. And you say, lock the door. Shut the window. Here they come, let's shut them out. And that includes your mama. And of course, Daddy, he didn't know, he's gone long ago. I'm talking about brothers who watch the Virgin Marys go to the welfare. You go to the welfare, you see nothing but virgins. Virgins with 10 children. Virgin with 1 child. Virgin with 3 children. Because the black man isn't there. He's in San Francisco laying in bed with another black man. You see, Brother Noble tell me when it's time, because I can't worry about time and talk. You see, when I look at Sister Kefede with the First World Alliance, I think back of walking in the vineyard I think of 8 makers of bread, yeah? People who work at making bread in the night while we were sleeping saw me on TV, the stupid box. And they came to the house and said, what you doing there? Aren't reaching enough people. Not enough days. We want to study. Today, that's First World Alliance. Carry hundreds of people to the Nile. But now I could die. I didn't want to die yesterday because I was scared to die. I was scared because there was no Melanin conference. I was scared because you were going to the Nile to take it back. I was scared because you didn't understand Francis Wellesley and you were saying what damn theory she got. That's weird stuff. Because you didn't want her to establish for you your values of self. But you didn't mind Shockley. You stood there and let Howard University and the other jackass that run it tell you that the medical school with more white students than black, that it's law school with more white students than black, and the faculty in both of those schools with more white than black will fire. No protest throughout the country. And you stay there and let her be fired. I can't understand you. You believe that you're going to change America. You believe that the cracker from Reagan, I can't say down because nothing could be lower than him. I got to say up, and the highest one of them is his wife. And that's totally ignorance. You so believe in this man that you beg him for a day for Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King must feel betrayed by the woman that slept in his bed. That woman that called Coretta. What a sad excuse for a black woman. She could not let her people decide his greatness. She had to go to a bunch of crackers who call him all kind of defamed names to give a day. What will happen when the new melanin come down the fallopian tube in other black sisters, and that melanin evolve and come out, and then the melanin start to read and ask the question, Ma, daughter, how you told me that King was so great? And here the crackers so liked him, he worked for them so much, they give him a day. Thank to all good black women that Betty didn't get that crazy. That Betty stood there with not only the sperm, her rites of passage blocked by 2 young ladies, waiting to tell her men on a glorious day, I am again pregnant. Do you know, black man? Do you know the greatest feeling? A black woman telling you, saying to you, especially the first time, I am pregnant for you. Your first time. When that black woman told me 48 years ago, I am pregnant, stood there. I said, what? She said, you got me pregnant. I said, I? She said, who else? You? I couldn't get over the shock. I said, well, we got to get married. You see, I knew we were going to get married. You know why? I didn't sleep with nothing I didn't respect. And so when time that she said she was pregnant, I said, let's get married. Because I know we could get married. Because I couldn't sleep. Daddy told me, do not go to bed with what you can't let people see you with. Do not go to bed with what you don't respect. Do not go to bed with what is not capable of being your wife. So if you ask me, what is your crowning glory of all you have done in your life, besides your mother and father, I do not hesitate. It's not a PhD. It's not a painting. It's not a bank book. My crowning glory is when a black woman thought that much of me to tell me, you are the cause of the melanin working in my body. And the glory, the other glory, the manifestation of that day came when my mother said, come, bring the basin with the hot water. She was the midwife. Your child is about to come. And I stood there shaking. I had seen birth before because my mother's a midwife. But this was my child's birth. And I was going to assist in my child's birth. My woman was depending on me for strength. When my mother said, put the basin down and let her grab your hands. And my mother said, push now, Jenny. And she hold and grip, and her fingernails go into my arm. But it feels sweet. Because I was helping my woman. And then my mother said, the head came. And I said, well, the head came there? And I start to go away because child was here. And then Big Mom said, jackass, come back here. I said, for what? She said, the shoulder got to come. I said, from there? Oh no. I know then she gonna die. She got to die. That little piece of thing I got was difficult for her to deal with, and a shoulder. I know, but Mama reassure me, don't worry about it, it's going to go back like it was. Then I felt a little better. Mama was right, it went back like it was. But all that night I just wanted to sleep with my little daughter in my hand. It was the prettiest thing this side of her mother's womb. And then I knew I had struck gold. I had struck the diamond. I had contact with God. And I had become a God. I had created man. Along with my woman, we made man. You see, when you say, and God said, let us make man, I knew what it meant. Because God told me, let us make man tonight, baby. And it was a glorious feeling. And man came in the form of a female. It was a glorious day. I don't know how you feel taking out your woman. You holding the baby and she just holding tight to you. She can't do much good walking now, but she's holding on. And you going down and all the brothers watching you. Look, man, a woman makes you, that black sister make you feel like you see, if Muhammad Ali came there and said anything to me, I'll bust him in his mouth. It's a feelings. That is to me melanin. Melanin acts on us so many different ways. There is no one way. In whatever way we find we can express that something that makes us black, let it act as blackness. Blackness is purity. Today I have on my deck suit. You ask, why did he dress in white? Because today I am coming from death to life. I am being born again. I'm being born because I saw that little boy Asa Hilliard in San Francisco State when he's kicking Ayakor's ass. That's what I'm seeing. Yeah. I'm being born again because that little boy from Los Angeles, the Grand Craig, is kicking the whole of the Los Angeles library and museum's ass, telling them who Jochanan is. I'm being born so many times again. Not only once. I'm going through a metamorphosis, as they call it. I'm going through so many stages that sometimes I would cry, but today the tears can't come. I'm too happy to cry. Because you has been transformed. You will never be the same again. You can backslide, but it will be on your conscience. You could go and wallow with the white man's daughter, but when you're discharging, it's going to cause you pain. Because you're going to see a black woman standing up in front of you, start born naked. And you're going to dribble and drool. Because you know the real thing you ain't getting. Yeah. You see, I felt the pain. I feel it coming. And I better stop before I keep going on to a situation. You see, I could die. The other day when I had the stroke, I said to my aunt, I lie down in my bed, and I didn't tell you about that. I walked to the hospital with 265 over 150 pressure, talking to my friend Dr. Lewis, who is now in Papua New Guinea, making joke going over while my foot is tightening up and my face is tightening up. My hand can't move. And I'm walking across the street, and he said, "Where you going? What hospital?" I said, "Harlem Hospital. It's here." To meet those black nurses, black doctors, black maids, black everything. When I go in there, and the sister put on the thing, and it said, she said, "You gotta lie down." And then I went there, and the black sister in charge of the emergency room, she said, "You dead." With this kind of pressure, you are dead. And I said, "No. My athletes just want me to rest." And the sister started working on me. Oh, I knew I couldn't die because the sister looked so good. I changed my mind, never dying. And then the sister said, "Well, he has no brain damage, Dr. We're going to shoot him upstairs to the intensive care." And upstairs there's another sister, black sister, in charge of intensive care. Oh Lord, I'm going to be now intensive care. One sister hold my hand and stick the needle. I didn't feel a thing. And the other sister hold me, and the nurse and the doctor made like this and come over me and lean over. And I said, "Lord, where's thy sting?" 2 days later, I'm back downstairs in the regular ward. The third day, I'm up. And Leonard Jeffrey is in this room. Leonard Jeffrey will forever suffer for the rest of his life. Leonard Jeffrey, where are you? Raise your hands. Leonard Jeffrey took my pork chop out my hand. The brother told me that I can't have no pork chop. The sister said I could have the pork chop. My mind told me I could have the pork chop. The Melanin told me eat the pork chop. And Leonard Jeffrey grabbed my pork chop and give it to somebody else. And they brought me, listen to this, cornflakes. But the brother meant well. He was seeing to it that I stay alive. And of course, I thank him for it. I thank anybody who feel that pork will hurt me, although I like it, who feel that well, and they feel to protect me. Those who feel I must eat grass alone, like cabbage and lettuce and somebody's seed and peanut butter. And look, I'm glad you feel that way about me, but I can't give up my chop. I think the chop is the next best thing to a black woman, is the chop. And you know that's saying a lot, because the black woman is the greatest. And now with all candor, in total respect to that genius, that God of all gods, that black woman, one who gave birth to me 68 years ago. I cannot spit in her womb. Taking on any other woman but a black woman would be to spit in my mother's womb. And I can't mistreat her that way. She has put me on this road. My father equally. They have shown me that no amount of money could give me the pleasure that the black race can. And I cannot live in this world knowing that a black child suffers, that a black woman is insulted, that a black woman and a black man and a black child need something to eat. I am eating and they have none. Although I extravagantly eat sometime, as I did last night, I must carry food to Africa. I must carry food to the South Pacific. I must carry clothing there, so that when you come to Africa, don't bring your old clothes you can't wear, old things you don't need. Bring what you're using. Bring so that it suffer. You feel it. It hurts your pocketbook. Because when you leave the village, you're going to feel light. You're going to feel like a new person. You're going to see the faces of your brothers and sisters even when you come back home. When you get in your bed, you will see your people with you. Because that's what it means. It is better to give than to receive. The crackers, they copied everything that we said. They copied every thought that we have. But behind those stones in Egypt, in Ethiopia, in Sudan, in Zimbabwe, in Ghana, in Mali, in Monomotapa, now called South Africa, in Carthage, now called Morocco and Algeria, in Zaire, once called Manicongo, our ancestors went to the outside God, in the outside temple, went to Boris, and there in Boris they stood with a mentor at Abydos. And when the spirit left, my spirit left and went on to discuss for the Ankh. As Osiris and Horus saw me with the ever-seeing eye, and my cat held my body in the grave. And when I walked out that grave, though my eye was closed, I saw you, and I couldn't leave. And Ma'at let me have one more chance to be your child. Amen.
We'll take some questions, and I want to take the prerogative to point out that we do not want to absorb, exhaust too much in our being so starved for his nourishment. Please hear what I'm saying. Are there any questions?
You don't ask a question for their brother. Come. Come up here.
Would you explain the symbols on the board?
Yes. When I explained the symbols on the board, I forgot to deal with the pyramid. I dealt with it. When you hear when I dealt with the chariot, okay. And the reason, by the way, I got that going down the hill, it's symbolic of the sperm going down the fallopian tube, and these are the result of the sperm. That's a process of your being. Now, the pyramid, and you notice I have two, but you notice over there, there's a part of a woman's body, what is called the delta, the upside down pyramid. These are two pyramids. If you turn the two pyramids down, they're symbolic of the woman's breast. If you turn the one down there, it's symbolic of the pelvic region, a delta. And above it, you see the umbilical cord, the navel, where the it is there that the symbolic phalanx of man, that a symbol of your continuation. Now when you take the pyramid upside down and the pyramid the other way, or inverse and reverse, they come what is called the dark star, which the Jews call the Star of David.
Where's Richard King? And Phil McGee. And Marcella Stewart. And Lawford Goddard. William Cabell. And Pamela George. And would all the students at San Francisco State and UC Berkeley that helped put this conference together come forward in front of us? John Turpin here? No? John Turpin? Then in the presence of our elders and as witnessed by our ancestors, I would like to mark this moment of our reascension, not the closing of this conference. Thank you.
There are a couple of pieces of business we'd like to conduct before we exit from the reascension. One of the notions is that we intend to host this event every year. That we intend to continue to be involved in research programs that deal with the question, the mystery, the phenomenon of melanin, and that we actually encourage all of you to get involved in any way that you think you can enhance the collective effort. The other thing is that one of the things that we hope to do next year is to teleconference this meeting both to Africa and the Caribbean. The fourth thing that we hope to do with this conference is possibly to take Professor Wimby's course, her lecture, and to work it into a home video correspondence course so that we can all begin to learn hieroglyphics. And we would take the responsibility for designing the perspective and getting it in the mail to all of you. We have all of you on a mailing list, and if you have not signed something, that put down your address and zip code, please make sure you do that before you leave. Okay, one of the two other things that we would like to do before this conference moves to another level is, and let me say three things before you actually leave. We would like to get a picture of all of you who are in attendance at this momentous occasion, and we'd like you to meet out near the cul-de-sac. If you walk out the front of the hotel, it would be to your left, and we want to take a group photo. Now you have to take this chaos or disorder